So in other words, Mr. Johnson, you get more production at lower cost with less maintenance right from the start. It's a terrific machine. So now, do you have any other questions about it?
No, I'd say you covered it pretty well.
Oh, good. Then there's nothing else you want to know about it?
I don't think so.
Well, then, see, I did mention the new automatic rejection feature, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Well, I guess that just about covers it.
I think so.
Well, if there's no other information I can give you, say, I've got all kinds of literature right here. I'd be glad to go over
No.
with you.
Look, I appreciate your coming by.
Oh, I'm glad to, and I know you're busy, but I just wanted you to have the facts and figures so that when you're ready to make a decision, you'll be ready. That is, I know you want to think it over, and I want you to know that I'll be glad to do anything I can to help you make a decision.
Yeah, okay. We'll get in touch with you. Thanks so much, and so long.
Hold it. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be perfectly honest about it. Did you see anything of yourself in that picture? Have you ever done what that salesman just did? Well, if you have, you're not alone. If it's any consolation to you, and I hope it's not, his performance was pretty typical of the way thousands of salesmen operate today. Intelligent, likable, hardworking people in the profession of selling. It's how they manage to get only a fraction of the sales they've worked for. They lose the orders that other salesmen get by a very simple process. Let me show you. Let's go back to that same customer. Same situation, same product, everything the same except the salesman.
In other words, Mr. Johnson, you get more production at lower cost with less maintenance right from the start. It's a terrific machine. So now, do you have any other questions about it?
No, I'd say you covered it pretty well.
Good. Then if you're satisfied, can I write up an order?
I don't see why not. Okay.
All right, hold it. Of course it's obvious that there's a difference between this salesman and this one. This man got the order. This one didn't. And you know why? It's not that this man is any smarter or knows his job any better than this one. They both have the same training and experience. They both know all the same basic principles of selling. The difference is, this man uses his knowledge, and this one doesn't. They both know the principle that says, to get an order you have to ask for it, but only this man applied it.
Then if you're satisfied, can I write up an order?
Asking for the order, that was the difference here between closing the sale and losing the sale. And that's true in thousands of cases every day. Millions of dollars in orders are not filled for lack of something this simple.
Can I have your okay to start shipping it next week? Will you let me have your signature?
You like this type style, Al, so can we call it a deal?
Shall I put you down for 30 gross?
Now, I'll grant you, your job might be simpler if you didn't have to come right out and ask for orders. If customers would close your sales for you.
By golly, you sold me. In fact, I want you to handle all our insurance. Got an order for him there?
Now, you and I both know customers don't behave that way. The fact is, not more than 1 time in 5 will a customer volunteer an order. At least 80% of the time, he makes you ask for it.
Now, as a result of our survey, I know we can provide you with greater fire coverage on your entire operation. Greater coverage at the same and perhaps even lower rates than you're paying now.
Looks like they might have something.
Now, these lower rates would be possible if you would make certain changes in your warehousing practices. And these changes, from all indications, would not affect production.
I had a hunch our operation could be improved there. This sounds good.
You see, if you could go to high stacking in this newer section, get all those inflammables in one area, then we could rate the entire structure under this category.
Might as well go for it.
All in all, we think these relatively minor changes will more than pay off in expanded coverage. As I say, the economics look good from every angle. I hope I've explained it thoroughly.
Yeah, so come on. Get to the point.
Anything else you'd like to know?
What's he stalling about?
Hey, how is business in general? Holding up okay? You know, from what I hear, things look pretty good this year. Is that right?
Does this guy want our business or not?
Well, suppose I stop by again next week. Give you time to mull it over.
If he thinks I'm going to beg him to take an order, forget it.
Thank you for your time. Pleasure talking with you.
Probably better talk to that other agency that's been after us. They might have something even better.
You see, customers expect to be asked to buy. They assume that's what you're there for. If you don't ask, the odds are they won't ask you, and the sale won't be made. Now, you know this, and every salesman knows it. So the question is, why don't they all do it? Why don't they always ask for the order? Oddly enough, the biggest reason is fear. Now, salesmen I've questioned in confidence, man to man, always seem to come up with something like this.
So I suppose I'm just afraid of getting turned down.
I hate to take a chance on making him sore. If you've got a good relationship set up, you worry that you'll mess it up if you keep pounding on him to buy something.
It's hard to figure out a smooth way to say, give me an order, just like that.
I'm always kind of afraid it'll turn him off if I come right out and ask for the order.
So it's fear, the fear of being turned down, that keeps so many salesmen from doing their job, from asking for the order. But let's think this over. Certainly you may get turned down if you ask for an order, but you won't be physically harmed. You won't be kicked, punched, or shot. The only thing that will hurt, perhaps, is your pride and self-esteem. But common sense tells you that if you don't ask, you're almost sure of a turn down. You're turning down the order, you see, by not trying for it. Now, I grant you, fear is not easy to overcome, but you can do it, just as all top professional salesmen have done it. Fear exists in the mind. It's a state of mind. To wipe it out, you have to change that state. You have to develop the attitude that's essential to complete selling success. Tough-mindedness. This is the quality that makes the champion salesman stand out from the crowd. It's what makes him use the principles that others know but are afraid to use. Now, don't let this word fool you. It doesn't mean what you might think. To be tough-minded doesn't mean to be overbearing or hard-boiled.
There aren't too many things in life you really need. You need this, and I'm going to see that you get it.
Lester, nobody scares me. That bunch of pansies that think they're competitors of mine, they may be afraid to talk turkey to you, but I'm not. Now, I'm here to tell you right now.
Out.
That's what tough-minded salesmanship is not. Here's what it is. A total three-dimensional approach to selling. And the 3 Ds that go into it are these: dedication, discipline, and determination. Tough-mindedness begins with dedication, an honest commitment to your job, and a firm belief in what you're selling.
I know. This will do everything you wanted to do for you. I give you my personal assurance on that, over and above this guarantee.
Dedication is the sincere conviction that you're being of real help to a customer, doing him a favor when you ask him to buy. It's the feeling that only by selling him can you serve him. That's dedication. Now, the second dimension is discipline, self-discipline, training yourself to do your job the way you know it should be done, following the proven sales principles you know will pay off. Discipline means setting definite goals for yourself and meeting those goals, whatever it takes in study, preparation, and time. It's doing your homework, researching your prospect's needs and problems in advance, anticipating any objections. It's laying the groundwork for every sales call.
I've talked with Sam, your plant foreman. We've spent quite a bit of time on this operation, but we feel that the answer can be worked out very easily.
Discipline produces tough-minded efficiency in the use of time, the refusal to waste either your own or your customer's time. That's discipline, the second dimension in tough-minded salesmanship. The third is determination. Determination, the firm resolve never to let a sale you've worked for go unasked for.
I think you've indicated this is what you need and what you want. So, can we wrap this up this afternoon?
And it's determination that prevents you from taking a quick no for an answer.
No, I don't think so. Not quite yet.
Determination not to mistake a customer's doubt for refusal.
You still have some reservations. Well, Mr. Garner, would you mind telling me just what it is about this proposal that's bothering you? Is it price?
Well, not exactly. Although it's a lot of money.
Well, let's take a look at all the cost factors, not just price alone.
It takes determination to stay with a sale, to recognize that the word no may mean no for now, not no forever.
So really, you're saving money. Now, can we figure on delivering next month?
Dedication, discipline, determination. These are the 3 dimensions of tough-mindedness in a salesman. a totally successful salesman. And there's no time when tough-mindedness takes on more importance than at closing time. This is when all your selling effort either pays off or goes down the drain. Assuming you've done everything right on a call, from your opening approach, capturing your prospect's interest.
The answer to that problem on number 4 line.
Oh, really? How's that?
A thorough presentation, your statement of customer benefits, tailored to his special wants and needs.
And extra capacity, but also the right size to fit into your operation.
Assuming you've handled any questions or objections perfectly.
Well, you don't have to replace the whole assembly anymore. So you see, you're...
And assuming your summation has been a real masterpiece. Fact remains, all of your time and effort to this point have been wasted unless you do one thing more, close. And the way you do this is...
How about it? Can we install it right away?
Ask for the order. The object of everything you've done before is to make this possible, to ask for the order and close that sale.
Well, if it'll do everything you say, Dan? Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's a deal.
If you're thinking you can't always ask for the order in just that way, obviously you're right. There is no one way that's going to work every time, with every customer, in every situation. But we can set up one general rule a tough-minded salesman will tell you applies in practically every case. Let me show you. What would you say is the key word, the all-important word in that principle? Right. The key word is ask. That means not a statement, but a question. To close a sale, ask a closing question. Let's see why.
Oh, I don't know. How long does it take to get delivery? When do you want it?
That's a closing question. Here's why.
Well, I guess I could put it to work almost any time, but all right. Look, if I guarantee I can make delivery by Wednesday, can we call the deal? Wednesday, huh? Well, yeah. Okay, I guess so.
All wrapped up. But now, let's try it without that closing question.
Oh, I don't know. How long does it take to make delivery? Oh, we can deliver it anytime you like.
That's not a close, but just another piece of information that gets no real action.
Now, another fine feature I wanted to tell you about.
That chance to close is gone. So let's repeat. If you want to close, don't just make another statement. Ask a question. Because questions require answers, and answers require decisions, which mean results. To get a customer to buy, the tough-minded salesman always pops a closing question. Now, exactly what form that question will take depends on the situation, the customer, a lot of factors. And which of the dozens of good closing questions you use is less important than that you do ask one whenever there's a chance to close. Let's look at some of the different ways of asking for an order. First of all, obviously, is this approach.
All right, then. Will you give us your approval to go ahead?
Shall we say it's a deal?
Can we install it for you right away?
There's nothing tricky or complicated about this kind of closing question. It's honest, straightforward, and businesslike. And if you've led up to it properly, the direct approach will pay off.
Then I guess we're down to the big question. Can we have your word?
You got it.
The direct approach will get you a quick decision, but in some situations you may decide that's a little abrupt, a little too blunt. So you may want to take the indirect approach. There are basically 4 good ways to do this. First, there's the take-it-for-granted technique. It's effective with customers who don't seem to like to commit themselves, who don't give you a clear-cut indication as to whether they're ready to buy.
And we're particularly proud of the design and styling of this line. As you know, the trend's all in this direction. Do you like it?
Well, of course, styling isn't all we're looking for. Our customers are very much quality-oriented.
Notice, she's not committing herself.
I understand. That's why I'm so sure this line will sell. The extra strength, inner construction of this line. Look, just take a look, for example, in this drawer. This is all... So there's not only solid comfort, but outstanding durability. Exactly what your customers demand and will pay for, right?
We have to stay competitive. We have to justify our prices.
Still no commitment.
Of course. And with this line, you can do it. On the basis of style, comfort, and durability. All-around quality.
So with no commitment, but with no objection either, he's going to take it for granted she's decided to buy. His closing question actually relieves her of the responsibility of saying, I'm sold.
As long as we're agreed on those features, could you tell me the quantities you think you'll need in each model?
Yes, I think we'll mainly concentrate on these lines.
That's the take it for granted technique. Now, the second indirect approach also avoids a direct closing question. Instead of asking whether the prospect will buy, it asks him what, when, or how he'll buy. This is the either-or technique. You give him a positive choice between two alternatives, either of which means getting an order.
So for all of these reasons, I feel this model copying machine would best fill the needs of your library. I hope the Board of Trustees agrees. Now, are there any other questions?
I got one. Why do we need any new machine right now?
Well, of course, that's a decision you have to make. Your librarian, Miss Chalmers, feels that the old system is unsatisfactory.
I'm still not convinced. Get the old one fixed if it doesn't work right.
Well, as I say, Mr. Jenkins, that's up to you and the other trustees. But there is one other question to consider, and that's the matter of financing.
Here it comes, the either-or clause.
In other words, would you want this machine on a rental agreement basis, or would you purchase it outright in order to get the special institutional discount?
I'd say buy it if we can get the discount.
There's no point in renting. We've got the money in the budget.
Why not? Wait a minute. We didn't decide if this would be feasible.
Well, now, wait a minute.
You must remember we got
Hi. What's the word?
Well, they didn't exactly decide on your machine.
Oh. I thought they were...
No. What they did decide was how they wanted to pay you for it. It's the same thing, I guess. Anyhow, they're sending you an order tomorrow.
The either-or technique. But now, let's suppose your prospect is the thoroughly indecisive type. He has trouble making up his mind on all big issues or big purchases. In his case, the third indirect closing technique often works. It's the step-by-step technique. It's like the old game of 20 questions, in which the hard-to-get answer is reached by way of the easy answers to a series of little questions.
And that's all there is to that. But a week after you've had this central air conditioning, you're going to wonder how you ever got along without it.
I just don't know. I can't decide whether it's worth all that money. Martha?
No. It's up to you, dear.
If the big answer is hard to get, try for the easy decisions.
It is a big decision, but while you're thinking about it, tell me, do you think that wall would be a convenient place to place your control, your thermostat?
Well, I don't know.
I think that wall would be fine.
Fine.
That would be handy, and not too obtrusive. Do you think that you'd have to have that unfinished attic room air conditioned, or do you plan to use it ever?
Well, I don't know. I guess not. We never use it anyway.
Be a big saving there. So, you have your choice of condenser units now. There is a deluxe unit and a standard unit, both good. But the standard unit is $75 less than the deluxe unit. What do you think?
I'm not just sure. If the standard unit does the job.
That'd be my choice, too. Oh, and where around the house would you like to have the unit placed, the outside condenser?
Well, I guess maybe someplace in back?
Outside by the back door to the garage.
Good.
Yeah.
And, and how about planting some shrubs around it to conceal it?
Step by step, through a series of easy decisions, you build agreement on the big decision.
I'll say this, Mr. Courtney, you folks certainly know exactly what you want. And the way that you've laid it out here, the price is a little less than even I had it figured.
Well, good.
Right. So if you would just sign this authorization right there, and I'll have the engineers out in the morning to start the planning.
That's the step-by-step technique. Now, there's also a fourth type of indirect closing question. This one requires that you know your prospect and his needs well enough to be sure of his response to your closing question. If this is the case, you may want to try the positive-negative technique. It's called this because in your closing question you make positive use of a negative point which you know doesn't really apply to your prospect.
On a truck, Charlie.
Like this.
Did I tell you about the mileage test we held last month on the Canadian car?
Yeah, you told me that, and I know it's a lot of truck.
I'm wondering if I can stand the price.
You get what you pay for. You know that.
Well, I'm going to have to give this a lot of thought.
Well, there's one more thing, and I want to be completely honest about this. The engine is great for highway driving, but it's awful damn expensive in city traffic. It's just too much power for low-speed operation.
There's the negative point put to positive use. The salesman knows the truck is to be used only over the highway, so he can afford to be negative about its high cost in city traffic.
So my point is, are you sure you'd be using this at least 90% of the time on long hauls cross-country?
Are you crazy? Of course I would. You ought to know that. Highway operations is all I care about. If this engine is as good as you...
So isn't this the truck for you, Charlie?
Maybe so, you bum.
In answering the positive-negative question, your prospect may find himself closing the sale for you.
Well, I agree. It looks good, but it's going to take a lot of planning to fit that into our schedule.
And we certainly want to work with you on that. I just hope that we don't have a problem with... Look, Mr. Fraser, I have to tell you this. Frankly, I don't believe we can get the machine installed into your plan until the first of the month. Will that mess up your schedule too much?
Oh, no. No, as I say, it'll take that long to get ready, to make a place for it. No, I think the first would be about right.
You'll get turned down sometimes, of course. That's part of the game. And you won't always close in the first try. Some sales you never close. Nobody bats 1,000. Well, that gives you the idea of some of the different kinds of closing questions you can pop when you want a decision. Some of them may work better for you than others, but any one of them will get results if you use it. Now, a matter of timing. The old idea that there's some one psychological magic moment when you either close a sale or lose it forever. That's a myth. Any time a prospect indicates agreement with you can be a good time to pop a closing question, whether or not you've made the whole presentation you planned or not.
Yeah, we got pretty good results from your last special edition.
Okay. Then can we figure on you for a full page this time?
Man, you don't waste time, do you? You just got here.
George, I got a whole big full-length pitch. I'm just dying to try out on you.
Forget it. One page is enough.
A tough-minded salesman will pop a closing question any time he gets any clue that the prospect may be near a decision.
I don't see why we'd need 20 of them.
I agree. How about if we settle on 12 right now?
Well, I think it would appeal to the boss, but...
In that case, do you want to issue the order? Is it a deal, or do we have to get his approval?
No, I can okay it.
No, wouldn't do us a bit of good unless we had him in stock by the end of the month.
All right. If I guarantee delivery by Monday, can I have your okay now?
So you see, any time can be the time for a closing question. And one more thing. Once you've popped a closing question, be tough-minded enough to wait for an answer, no matter how long it takes.
Proven performance. Less downtime. That's about the story. This one's all serviced and ready to go. How about putting it on the job for you?
If you don't wait for an answer, you've wasted the chance to close.
Say, why don't you climb up there on the operator's seat and try it for comfort? And notice...
And that chance to close is gone. Let's go back to that same situation.
Proven performance, less downtime. That's about the story.
This is how to make a closing question work.
This one's all serviced and ready to go. How about putting it on the job for you?
Okay. You made a sale.
All right. What you've seen here is a principle in action. A principle you learned as soon as you got into the selling profession. But it's not enough to know this. Everybody knows it. You also have to have the dedication, discipline, and determination to do it. You have to be tough-minded enough to use your knowledge, to ask for the order on every sales call. And the way you learn how to ask for the order is simply this. Take one, any one, of the direct or indirect approaches and use it exclusively for the next month. Resolve yourself to use that single closing technique in every sales situation. At the end of the month, set it aside and choose another closing technique. Now use it to close every sale for the following month. Each month, you use a different closing technique until you have mastered all of the techniques. If you have the tough-minded resolve, let's face it, the guts to do this, you will prove to yourself that no matter which one you use, the important thing is to discipline yourself to use one. Remember this in selling, as in everything else in life, results are all that count. There's no payoff for the number of sales calls you make, only the ones you close. So, to close a sale, ask a closing question. I promise you, it will work. So here's my closing question for you. Will you do it?